The Edmonton Rush head into Toronto looking to continue their record-breaking undefeated dream season. For the Rock, it's been all about retooling, adding players, and trying to lock down that third and final playoff spot in the East. It's the Rush versus the Rock. NLL action is live, and it's next. Toronto, a big one here this Sunday afternoon. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. The Toronto Rock hosting the undefeated 12-0 Edmonton Rush. Stamper, the Rush have matched the all-time record of 12 straight victories set by the Rochester Nighthawks in 2007. What a season it has been for this Edmonton club.
They've been tremendous, and perhaps the most interesting thing about it is they started out well, had a little bit of a struggle where they were in some close games, won a few one-goal games, and they've gotten a lot better. They have looked so good in their last 3 games. It's hard to imagine the way they're playing right now, anybody beating them. The Rock are going to have a go at it, and the big thing Toronto has going for them this afternoon is Edmonton did play last night.
Yes.
They can hope the Rush are a little tired.
15-11 victory over the Nighthawks in Rochester for the Edmonton Rush. It was actually the first time this season that the team had given up more than 10 goals. So for the Rock, if you're a Toronto fan, you're hoping you catch this Edmonton team maybe a little tired, but the way Aaron Bold has been playing and that defense, second in goals against, first in save percentage, my goodness, he looks unstoppable, and that defense is even better.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked very good. Some people say he doesn't face a lot of shots because, you know, and he looks good because the defense is so good in front of him.
Who cares?
Some of
That's
that is true. Yeah, exactly. It's a great problem to have. But it's, you know, when he has to make the saves he's been very solid. He's got a great save percentage, which isn't that easy when you don't face a lot of shots. You know, he's been very good. That defense is just swarming. They are all over the offensive players. I was talking to some of the referees before the game, and they were saying, you know, from the guys who did the game last night, saying, you know, so many times you'll have one guy engaged with the player, another one comes in and just knocks the ball free.
For the Toronto Rock, a lot of moves made at the trade deadline, trying to retool, restaff, get back something that they clearly haven't had all season long. The biggest acquisition, getting goaltender Brandon Miller from the Philadelphia Wings. Your thoughts on that acquisition? And Miller gets the start tonight over Nick Rose.
I really like the pickup. I mean, he's been a really solid goalie in this league for quite a while. We were discussing, you know, is he a star goalie? Is he just a solid veteran? I think he has the potential to be a star. He's been on a Philadelphia team that for quite a while that hasn't been very good. They're starting to come back around, but, you know, he's really faced some tough times there, and he has been outstanding. Last summer, he was absolutely brilliant in the Mann Cup, and he played with 4 of these Toronto Rock teammates in that series, and looked great in front of them. Other
acquisitions for the Rock, Jimmy Purvis, Kevin Ross. Thoughts on those acquirements during trade?
I like them both. I think Kevin Ross brings a big physical presence on the left side. You know, he's not playing today, but he is a nice addition, gives them some great depth. And an offense that's already very good. Jimmy Purvis, to me, is a really good pickup. He's had such a strong season in the Canadian Lacrosse League. He's been very good offensively. in CLAX. But he is a defense transition guy. He's very physical, very in your face, and he knows how to handle the ball. I think he can run. I think he's a guy who belongs in this league and is ready to prove that he should be playing all the time.
Getting to the Edmonton Rush, it's interesting to note that the Rock have the top goal scorer, or a top point getter, in assists as well, in Garrett Billings. Tied for second in overall goals scored, Stephen LeBlanc. The Edmonton Rush appear nowhere in those top 10 stats, but guess what? They have multiple contributors. They are so dangerous with those young guns. Mark Matthews, Curtis Knight. You can run down the gauntlet.
Yeah, they've got so many guys who contribute well. You've got, last night, a great example. Mark Matthews, a couple of diagonal passes that set up quick sticks. One by Curtis Knight, which you'd expect. One by John LaFontaine, one of their defenders who came up and took a shift in the offensive zone. They have a number of guys who can really contribute. You look at someone like Zach Greer, who is so dangerous in his own right. Jarrett Davis, who has been having such a strong season for them. They have a really deep roster. They move the ball. They don't have egos. They don't have a lot of flaws on any point of the floor.
Sure. How important has Derek Keenan, the head coach of the Rush, been to this club? Because for the last few years, we've known them primarily as a solid, tough defensive club, have trouble scoring, kind of chip in when they can. Now you add those top draft picks, the ones we mentioned, especially Matthews and Knight.
Yeah.
You add that offensive element to it. Derek Keenan, I think, has done a tremendous job coaching.
I think he's done a great job coaching, and as the GM, just a fabulous job adding all those pieces that make the team click the way that they do. I think he's a tremendous coach. I have a ton of respect for him. I think he's one of the great lacrosse minds in the game. So I've had a chance, and you have as well, to watch him with the Whitby Warriors, where he does a tremendous job every year. And he's so calm and so positive and has such a great wealth of knowledge and does such a good job of sharing it with the players. And he's very open about what he thinks about everything. I just have a great amount of respect, and I think he's a terrific coach and GM.
Well, while Edmonton has a clear stranglehold on the West Division, the Toronto Rock are in a dogfight. They have one game in hand over the Philadelphia Wings. Philadelphia won last night. The next time we're on the air at home, it'll be against the Philadelphia Wings. Late in the season, that could very well be the deciding factor of who makes the playoffs, that third and final playoff spot.
It could, especially, if Toronto doesn't win today, they go forward tied at 5-9, both teams, and that game, basically whoever wins that game gives themselves a huge edge, winning the season series. So, the tie goes to that team. So even if, whichever team can lose a game, as long as they win that one, they're in good position. So today, obviously very important, but next game here is going to be critical.
It'll come right down to the wire. I'm sure we talk about the parity all the time. It's tremendous in this East Division. It'll be very exciting. The moves the Rock made at the trade deadline, in your mind, has it been enough? Is it enough to push them over the edge to one, clinch a playoff spot, and then actually be able to maybe win a round or two?
I think it's going to depend how Brandon Miller responds, how much they play him. We heard John Lovell saying that, they didn't bring Miller in just to open a door. They want to give him a chance to play. They think he's earned the right to play. And they're very pleased with the way Nick Rose has played for the most part, just like the rest of the team. He's had his ups and his downs for sure. If Brandon Miller can get really hot or push Nick Rose and Rose can get really hot, that is what's going to make the big difference. I think that is the key acquisition.
And maybe, too, for Miller, you have that veteran presence as a backup. Rose never had that since Cummings.
No.
You have a true pro in Miller who's been there, who's faced the struggles on some bad Philadelphia teams. That could be a real X factor from a mentoring standpoint as well, couldn't it?
It could. Brandon Miller is such a veteran guy, such a calm guy, a really positive presence around the locker room. You saw that last year, again, talking about the Six Nations Chiefs in MSL, where Evan Kirk was the starter, unquestioned. And Miller just came in every day, did his work, was ready to go whenever they needed him. When they needed him was in the third game of the Mann Cup. When Kirk started to get lit up a bit, they put Miller in, and he had a ridiculous save percentage, around 900, the rest of the Mann Cup, and was absolutely brilliant. And every morning at breakfast, every day at the games, he was the same guy. Win, lose, or draw, he was a steady, calming veteran presence.
Very important to have. Let's send it down to the floor now for the national anthem.
Of O Canada.
Battle of Canada, Toronto versus Edmonton. The Rush, an undefeated 12-0. The Rock trying to hold on to that third and final playoff spot in the East Division. Welcome to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. I'm Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. Should be a great one here this evening, Stamper. Aaron Bold leads the NLL in goals against average. A minuscule 8.16. Save percentage, second only to Anthony Cosmo in Buffalo at .805. Outstanding.
He really is an outstanding goalie, playing very well, very consistently. He had one game early in the season where Brodie McDonald came in to replace him, who's just off his game. Other than that, he has been steady throughout. He's so consistent, and he just doesn't give up a lot of weak goals.
No.
Those goals that sometimes sneak in, and the goalie's like, oh, and the teams, it just saps some of their energy. He doesn't give them up. It doesn't happen.
No, you're absolutely right. They are currently tied for the all-time NLL record for 12 straight victories, 12-0 in a single season. That record belongs to the 2007 Rochester Nighthawks, a team that Edmonton beat last night, 15-11. So the Toronto Rock, who currently sit at 5-8, trying to capitalize maybe on a tired team. It was last night, so it's less than 24 hours. But wow, this Rush team has been phenomenal this season.
They're so good. But it was, they're maybe a little tired, and it was a very passionate game last night.
Yeah.
A lot going. And they actually, because a couple players got kicked out, one for each team after a fight, Joe Walters and John Lintz, they were running a little bit short.
Right.
So, everyone that little bit extra tired, Toronto's got to try and take advantage. The big thing, Toronto cannot give up a lot of goals because they won't get a lot against Edmonton.
Absolutely. Brandon Miller in goal for the Toronto Rock, acquired at the trade deadline in replace of the usual starter, Nick Rose. Toronto in their home, all white jerseys. Edmonton Rush in their gray and black uniforms. Underway, Edmonton ball here, and you're absolutely right, Steven. It's all about being able to not fall down early, because Edmonton, traditionally a defensive team, has added some real offensive pop in the likes of Mark Matthews, and a shot high for Brandon Miller making his first stop with the Rock. Ball sails up and over the glass, out of play. You have Mark Matthews, who had 2 goals and 4 assists last night. You have Curtis Knight, a nice run and gun option to go along with that defense.
Oh, they're a tremendous pair, and you throw in Zach Greer, who is scoring very well. You got Jarrett Davis. There's a lot of weapons that they have, and Toronto's going to have to be very careful defensively and watch out for the transition.
Whoa, and here come the Rush. Turn on the Jets, a shot. Miller trickles in behind him, and it will count. Nick Belich, number 79, and that's all about, you're not going to see Edmonton with a whole lot of scores at the top of the league, but they contribute just all over the place. There you go.
Belich, another one who can bring it with the speed, a little scoring touch. You see Jeff Cornwall right behind him. Cornwall is absolutely tremendous. He scored 2 goals last night. Chris Corbeil leads all defenders in scoring and goals. They get so many guys from the back end. Jeremy Thompson will come and help out. They're dangerous all over. And they've always been a good transition team, but now, like you said, they've got the weapons in the offensive zone to do it 5-on-5 as well.
Third goal of the 2014 season for Belich. Stephen LeBlanc with possession, tied for second in the NLL in goals scored at 30. What a bounce-back season for Stephen LeBlanc. Of course, number 13, Garrett Billings, leader in assists and points. 92 total points so far, looking for his third consecutive 100-point campaign. Looks like we have an illegal cross-check.
John LaFontaine going to the box. He got Stephen LeBlanc right over by the Edmonton bench just as LeBlanc was giving the ball up, and was kind of bent over. Belich checked him in the back and knocked him down.
Special teams will be a key factor in this game. The Rush 3 for 5 on the power play last night. See if the Rock can take advantage with a man up on their own here.
You really need to take advantage with the extra man because you're not going to get a lot of chances, even strength.
Casey Bierns makes his move, sets the pick for Billings, a screen, count it! Over the shoulder, stick side, and Garrett Billings buries it. We're all tied at 1.
Beautiful pick by Casey Bierns. You can see Aaron Bold trying to replicate what he needs to do to stop shots like that, but that was a nice play by Bierns to set Garrett Billings up for that one. And we know what a good shooter Garrett Billings is, and he lets that one absolutely fly, just picks the corner.
Face-off here. Thompson has a .548 face-off winning percentage for the Rush. You have another look at that goal. Jesse Gamble heads off the floor. Garrett Billings. Receiving in stride is LeBlanc. LeBlanc on the right wing. Heads back, nice swim move. He's really worked on that swim move on offense. One of the best. Backdoor specialist Casey Barnes. Shot right on. He didn't get everything he wanted on it to Bold. Bold with the long outlet pass over the top. Leaping and snaring it. Watch out for the big boys. Mark Matthews, Curtis Knight, Zach Greer. Greer with the ball there. Went for a bouncer. Brandon Miller. Kick save with the left pad. Looking pretty good early on. Shots two-piece. Rob Marshall feeds it. Josh Sanderson waits. Went for the touch. Sandy Chapman. Hey now. Sandy Chapman stayed on the floor. Set up camp at the baseline. And it's 2-1 Toronto.
Marshall and Chapman both stay up for an offensive shift, and Chapman looking like Casey Behrens as he gets that one and just quick sticks it home. Great movement, and so far the Rock really taking advantage. You got to wonder if the Rush do have some somewhat tired legs, a little lethargic. Watch this pass across, just tucking it home as Chapman. That is a great Josh Sanderson pass. And, the Rock taking advantage of the opportunities they had. They created the chance for Behrens last time down, and so far getting more chances than most teams get against the Rush in this amount of time.
Absolutely. Mark Matthews. And you want to talk about a stud. You want to talk about an all-out weapon. 6'5", has the speed of someone who's 5'9", and uses that physicality he has all over the place. Big rebound again and scores. Toronto. Oh, it's going to be called off. Bill Greer couldn't handle Robert Church. The Rock catch a break. Still 2-1 Toronto.
The Rush looking about whether they want to challenge that. They have the flag in hand.
They're trying to get a look, and they're wondering. Derek Keenan looks like they're going to hold off. Ball bouncing in behind. Rob Hellier. Heck of a game by Rob Hellier in the 14-13 loss in Philadelphia on March 22nd. 3 goals, 3 assists. Rob Hellier has had a tremendous 2014 campaign, getting a lot more touches with the retirement of Blaine Manning. Whoa, and the stick knocked right out of the hands of Johnson by Cornwall. There's Jarrett Davis. He'll be the in-home man for Edmonton. For penalty purposes tonight, Jimmy Purvis is that guy for Toronto. Put to the weak side. Zach Greer trying to create a lane. Went to the top. Mark Matthews went high stick side. Johnson with the quick dump to Chapman. Chapman galloping down the floor. Chapman turning on the Jets. Has Hostrauser with him. Decides to go off. And Stamper for Toronto. This is really, it's nice to depend on LeBlanc and Billings, but if they can spread the scoring around and get the odd touch from a Chapman and others, that would be so key. That's where Edmonton has been so good.
Yeah, they'd love to see some transition of their own, like they got from Chapman. Guys like Damon Edwards or Scott Johnston jumping in. Jesse Gamble, of course, the speedster. So a little transition goes a long way in a game that's probably going to be pretty low scoring.
10:40 to go in the opening frame. Again, that is very important. Nice stop by Miller for the Toronto Rock. The Rush 4.5 games up on second place. Calgary Roughnecks. Johnson had the head fake, broke some ankles, and Bold stood tall. Fresh 30 for Toronto. They'll regroup and wait. Stefan LeBlanc holds in the neutral zone on the left, bounces it into the center logo to Rob Hellier. Gets rid of it to Billings. Toronto's offense starting to get into position here. Shots 5-4 in favor of the visitors. Billings puts his shoulder down, dumps it, sets up camp in the low post over the top. Behrens, shoulder stayed by Bold, and heads into the platinum section to his left.
Rock still getting some decent looks, getting some chances here. The Edmonton defense, you'll see they really come out in pressure, and if you are a little tired, that can cause some problems, make it a little tricky to stay with them. There's another shot from LeBlanc that just goes wide.
Going into the corner, Casey Behrens. A couple of gray jerseys. I really like those Edmonton Rush visiting jerseys.
Yeah, I do too.
Toronto receives. Billings moving on the left side, has no room, almost collides with his own man Behrens. 2 on the shot clock, intercepted, and here come the Edmonton Rush. Taking in stride Cornwall. Looking down the middle. He'll wait, went for a screen. well off the mark to the right. Toronto going back the other way. Bit of a track meet here early on. 9:22 left in the first quarter. Here's big Stephen LeBlanc. 6'1", 205. Garrett Billings. Oh, LeBlanc thread the needle, and there's going to be a penalty. Chris Corbeil, the captain of Edmonton, upended Billings. And looks like he'll be going to the sin bin for 2 or less. And with that, we're going to take the break. You are watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network. 2-1 the score. Toronto up on Edmonton.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon to the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Get some new team gear for the season by visiting the NLL shop online and go to shop.nll.com for the best prices and selection on clothing and accessories for all 9 teams. With flat rate shipping and no hassle returns, the NLL shop is the place for all things NLL. Visit shop.nll.com today, powered by Fanatics. Welcome back to the ACC in Toronto. The Rock lead the undefeated Edmonton Rush early, 2-1, 9 minutes even left in the opening quarter. Garrett Billings sidearm whip. Bounce off the backboards and goes back into Toronto territory. That's going to be an over and back call. Rush possession. Toronto is on a power play. The captain, Chris Corbeil, tripped up Garrett Billings. And now Edmonton will get a chance to eat up some clock with 1:44 to kill on their end. Big Mark Matthews on the floor, number 42. Keep an eye on him. Curtis Knight, another young weapon. Edmonton drafting very well over the last few seasons, built from the back end out. And that's really how you build a long-term success, isn't it? You get the defense, and you go offense. Trying short-handed. Greer hammered by Patrick Merrill. Now Toronto will get a chance to set up their power play with 1:12 to go on the man advantage.
We'll see if the Rock can try and keep these Edmonton Rush defenders moving. We've said they might be a little bit heavy-legged early in the game here. Let's see if they really get them going back and forth.
Back to the point for Colin Doyle. Garrett Billings receives. Dishes to Doyle. Doyle backpedals, looking for a screen. Bowled right into his chest. Rebound, though. Scurries over to the post and shuts it down. Edmonton ball. Rubish heads to the bench. LeBlanc trying to get possession back there. Almost created a turnover. 37 seconds left on the man advantage for Toronto. The Rush have 7 seconds on the shot clock. We'll use every bit of that. 2-1, and they'll dump it into the corner. So the Rock have 21 seconds left on the power play off of the minor to Chris Corbeil. Garrett Billings fires to the far corner. Sanderson dumps to the point. Billings receives, sidestep. Bierns creates a lane, and Sanderson was looking for the one-timer, took his eye off the ball just for a moment, went wide. Kyle Rubish is all over him, and we are back to even strength. Corbeil taking it right out of the box, all alone on Miller, scores! Could that have developed any better for the Edmonton Rush? Wow, Corbeil out of the box, called for it. No chance for Miller. 2-all the score.
Corbeil having quite a season. That gives him 11 goals. this season from his defensive position.
Wow.
A great finish, and like you said, couldn't work out better. I was really impressed with the job Josh Sanderson did fighting off Kyle Rubish trying to get the ball on that loose ball, but the Rush came in, had some help as they always seem to, and got possession.
Jeremy Thompson, one of the better face-off men in the league, gets rid of it. Oh, looks like we're going to have a penalty here. John LaFontaine got hit. Still has it. It bowled out of the net. Extra attacker on for the Rush. Toronto has been prone to giving up multiple runs during games as of late, as they've fallen to 5-8 on the season. New goalie in net, though, and Brandon Miller over the top, hugs that post on the right side. Edmonton still has it. Damon Edwards trying to get on him. 30-second shot clock violation. We'll find the whistle and see what the call is here.
Illegal cross-check called against Marshall. We'll see on the replay, Marshall a bit of a smile, disagreeing with the call very pleasantly, as he is wont to do.
You don't say, disagreeing with an official's call. Wow.
But pleasantly.
Pleasantly. That's all you want. So now, the Edmonton Rush, who were 3 for 5 on the power play last night, get a chance to do some damage here with the score tied at 2 and 6:20 to go in the opening frame. Watch out for Corey Conway as well. He's the point man. Mark Matthews receives on the right side. Matthews finds it. Ball knocked free. And a turnover. Sandy Chapman turning on the Jets, getting over center. Trying to press the Rush on the transition. And now it's Toronto's turn to eat up some time. Boy, Chapman just seems to have endless energy, doesn't he, Stamper? He was running to the net, pretending to call for the ball as well, get Edmonton out of position, and then goes right back.
Just keeps working.
That's why he's so good. Stephen LeBlanc on the far corner. Try to one-hand it, Colin Doyle. Couldn't corral it in.
We haven't really seen much of Colin Doyle so far this game.
No, interesting, yeah. I was just thinking that. Haven't, only a couple times on the floor.
You got to keep an eye on Mark Matthews out here. You have to stay close because he is a great shooter. If you give him space, he'll make the great pass as well. But you better come out with control because he will go by you if you don't have your footwork right.
Conway waits. Blind pass. Zach Greer back to Conway. 44 seconds left on the power play, off the post. And Miller hustled over to that left post. Make sure nothing else got in. Zach Greer, point blank range. Jesse Gamble, a second too late. But Miller with the stop. Miller post to post again. That was off, but they're going to count it. It was pushed away. Miller, 3-2 the score. Take us through this one, Stamper.
This is just Brandon Miller goes over, makes the first save on the quick stick from Knight here. He's there in plenty of time. He kind of gets tangled up in the net a little bit. Looks like he's tied up with the post, and Greer has nothing but net. He doesn't need a whole lot of space. The all-time NCAA leading scorer just tucks that one home. And just like that, Edmonton leads 3-2. 2 transition goals and a power play marker.
You can't blame Brandon Miller on that one.
No.
He did everything. That defense of Toronto, the last couple of possessions have really broken down.
It's hard to fault them on that power play when you just can't cover everyone. But now we have a penalty coming. Toronto will go back to the power play.
Okay. Exchanging penalties. Damon Edwards holds up in the neutral zone. Sandy Chapman being held there by Thompson.
I kind of thought it was the other way around.
Well,
holding each other.
There you go. Oh, and okay. No need for the power play. Toronto with the extra man. With the hand up in the air, the official goes to Josh Sanderson. We got a ball game here, folks. We're all tied up at 3.
And much like last night, a little higher scoring than you might expect. Things kind of rolling along. The Sanderson goal, just tucking it between the legs there of Aaron Bold. Really nice touch. Josh Sanderson, we see it so often that accuracy more important than power.
Yep.
When you're shooting.
At 5'7", he's one of the best accuracy type shooters in the league. Again, like you said, not a lot of power, but pinpoint precision. Edmonton coming right back, all alone, waits, head fake, a screen, and count it.
Jeremy Thompson.
Whoa.
A nice hard fake. The defender bought on it, and he just tucks it over inside the far post. You're going to see, watch this, pass is received, and he throws hard. Patrick Merrill's got to go after that, and Thompson just steps around him and makes a perfect shot.
Edmonton retakes the lead 4-3. And didn't you feel there, Stephen, that Edmonton just said, we're scoring here? Like, I just felt the physicality and the body language of Edmonton, and that's what you get from a championship caliber team when they say, that's it, we're taking this one.
Well, and they're so confident. They know that they've got all these guys who can contribute. What a battle this is for this face-off between Ethan O'Connor and Thompson.
And it's scooted out. That was like a rugby scrum right there. Jesse Gamble getting in the face of Brett Mitski. 6'4" up against the 5'9" Jesse Gamble.
LaFontaine jumps in, as does Rob Marshall. Marshall looking like he's playing a bit of peacekeeping.
3:47 to go in the first. With that, we'll step aside. 4-3 the score. Edmonton up on Toronto. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
The best way to get ready for the weekend's action is by watching NLL Live every Thursday night on the Lacrosse Network. Catch the show live at 8 Eastern or on demand anytime at the home of the Lacrosse Network, youtube.com/TLN. Welcome back to the ACC in Toronto. The Edmonton Rush have retaken the lead. It's really been a back and forth game here. 4-3 up on the Toronto Rock. They lead in the shot category as well, 11-7. Rush with the possession right now, going from left to right on your screen.
And what we've seen in the Rush's last few games is they have been close early in the first quarter into the second quarter, and then they've gone on runs in each of the last three games that have just separated themselves. So the Rock have to be careful here in the next 5 to 7 minutes.
Absolutely. Mark Matthews shakes off Damon Edwards like he was a fly. Brandon Miller, glove save. That's what you get from a 6'5" monster like Matthews. So much athleticism. And the likes of Matthews and Knight will have a nice support group here, being local.
So many teams have that when they come into Toronto. A lot of Toronto area players love to come in and play near home.
Absolutely. Rob Hellier, stutter step, puts the weak side over the top. Bold was already there. Easy save. There's Jeff Cornwall strolling over center to the neutral zone. Dishes and heads to the bench.
Cornwell's a guy who's really had a breakout season. He was good last year, but he's become a near elite level, if not elite level, defender in this league.
Miller kind of went through his legs, but scooted out the back door there. Here comes Toronto. Bill Hostrauser. Oh, sorry, that's Purvis. New addition to the Toronto Rock. Kevin Ross, the other add-on. He is not in the lineup tonight. So the Rock shuffling some players in and out of the practice roster, kind of the fringe types, and trying to find that right combination late in the season that can get them that third and final playoff spot.
Moving pick on the Rock is going to go back to Edmonton ball.
2:02 left in the first. Mark Matthews. Jogs, swim move over, doesn't find anything. Matthews falls. Matthews getting hacked to bits by Damon Edwards. Still standing over him. Matthews can't get up. Edwards comes up with it. And he turns on the Jets.
And referee Mark Ardonio comes over and separates Merrill and Matthews. Make sure there's no hijinks towards behind the play.
There's Rob Hellier on the left wing. Hellier waits. Gives to the right side. Winding up Stephen LeBlanc, he put everything he had into that. All 205 pounds, and Bold made a nice save. Evenly matched battle so far. Toronto needs this one to try to create a little bit of space with Philadelphia. If Toronto loses tonight, they'll be tied for that third and final playoff spot. Each have won a game in the season series, Philly and Toronto.
Shot there from Adrian Soroketti, who played last week, had his first 3-goal game. Those were his first 3 goals in the National Lacrosse League, just his second game of his young career.
Wow.
And what a way to start. He comes in today after Riley Lowen played last night, an early draft pick by the Rush. And Lowen coming off the DL. So Derek Keenan had said they'd probably alternate them this weekend, get some fresh legs, and Soroketti had played well. Another guy that played for Keenan in Whitby, and he's familiar with him from that, as we have Billy Greer going to the penalty box, Rush back to the power play.
Another power play, so dangerous. They already have one power play goal tonight coming from Zach Greer. Mark Matthews gets rid of it. Edmonton cycling the ball well, now pinching, waiting. Toronto trying to tighten up that square. They manhandle Matthews to the slot, undresses O'Connor, went high. And Robert Church made a nice move, beat O'Connor, but couldn't bury it. Jesse Campbell putting his shoulder down, Chapman giving him some space. There's a delay game call on Greer.
Great movement by that Rush offense on the power play.
Yeah.
Just get the defense running all over.
Toronto will hold it. 13 seconds left in the quarter. 5 on the shot clock. Toronto just holding on. That's Stephen LeBlanc. Puts a shot wide, and with 4.6 seconds left, the Rush might have a chance to do something real quick here. 3 seconds. See if they try anything. 1, and Zach Greer will wind up, and it's turned aside by Brandon Miller, finishing off his first quarter as a member of the Toronto Rock. So with that, we will take the break. Rush lead the Rock 4-3. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
The next Toronto Rock home game is on Saturday, April 12th, as the Rock host the Philadelphia Wings. Game time here at the Air Canada Centre is 7 p.m. For tickets, visit TorontoRock.com. That game could and probably will have huge playoff implications in the East. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. After one quarter of play, the Edmonton Rush, the undefeated Edmonton Rush at 12-0, lead the Rock 4-3. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. As action gets back underway, Steven, quick thoughts on Brandon Miller's first quarter in net as a member of the Toronto Rock.
Doing pretty well. He's made a few nice saves. It's hard to, he's on pace to give up 16 goals, which is not what you want, but it's pretty hard to fault him on most of the goals. We talked about, how well they've been moving the ball and the transition chances. But I think they need him to maybe make a couple of those stops you don't expect him to make.
Makes a good one right there. Toronto Rock in their home all-white jerseys. Edmonton Rush in their visiting gray, black, and white uniforms. Still 30 seconds to go on the delay of game penalty to Bill Greer of the Rock. Edmonton went 3 for 5 in their 15-11 victory over the Rochester Nighthawks in Rochester yesterday. 3 for 5 on the power play. Toronto eating up more time. 2 on the shot clock, 10 left in the penalty. Billings will dump it. And the Rush will get one more drive up a man. Metzke gets rid of it. Taking it in the neutral zone. And Bill Greer hustles back onto the floor. Church receives on the left wing. Oh, and trying to scoot in. Casey Bierenstyle on the back door. Couldn't corral it in, though, was Jared Davis. Toronto trying to get back on track and tie things up here. Colin Doyle. Shot deflected after it left his stick. Redirected wide. And a crushing hit. Oh, LaFontaine got nailed by Hostrauser. Still held onto it somehow. Here's Belich. He scored once today already. Conway waits, snaps that pass. Ball knocked loose. Matthews. Matthews has been held in check so far today. Whoa, Zach Greer. Did that have some velocity behind it? Off the mark. That was a riser. 30-second shot clock violation. Will be Toronto ball.
Great effort by Matthews trying to get that ball back, allowed Greer to pick it up and rip that one late in the shot clock, but it just went a little bit high. Toronto gets it back the other way, and they'll try and tie this game up.
Colin Doyle back to the point. Into the near corner. Spinning. Doyle waits, double teamed. Ran into nothing but great jerseys. All alone, drew everybody out. Rob Hellier on the doorstep. Nice job by the captain. Drawing 2 Rush defenders to him to give Hellier a great scoring chance.
Such a physical Edmonton defense, and they couldn't get it away from him. Doyle, and that helped set Hellier up wide open on top of the crease.
And it's going to be a penalty to Toronto. Bold hustling to the bench for the extra man. The extra man is Curtis Knight, and there you go. Whoa, that was I want to get another look at that one, Stephen. I was watching Knight come onto the floor. Miller got beat from far out.
Yeah, you'll see just this hard overhand shot. And Zach Greer, you talked about how hard his last shot was. And, sometimes power is very important. When you're shooting from outside, you got to let it rip. And Greer is up there with the John Grants of the world in terms of letting it absolutely fly, getting plenty behind it. And it looks like we've got a player on each team heading off to the block, Belich and Patrick Merrill.
Okay, offsetting Miners. And it's a 2-goal lead for the Edmonton Rush. And this is the situation, Stamper, similar to when Toronto was playing Rochester, who have such a good defense and strong goaltending. If you allow this team to get up a couple, they will just shut down. They will shut you down defensively. And then when you have to gamble, they have the horses to make you pay too on offense.
Yeah, and they will press. They'll keep pushing. They'll keep playing the way they do, and just get a ton of pressure on the ball at all times, and put pressure on your transition, your reverse transition. You'd better be ready to get your forwards off the floor and let some defenders get out, or they will take advantage.
Some great face-off battles early in this game between Jeremy Thompson and Ethan O'Connor, the rookie.
Nice work there by Kyle Rubish to fight his way through a trio of Rock defenders to get that ball out and set up the offense.
LaFontaine heads out. There's Curtis Knight in the left wing. Knight waits over the top. Knight quick. Got a chance to see him up close with the Whippy Warriors. Heck of a competitor. A lot of leadership on this team. And leadership that can grow into that role too from youth that have displayed it at the minor level.
Curtis Knight, a captain with the Whippy Warriors for a few years, MVP of the 2011 Minto Cup, and just a tremendous leader. And there, the Rock get the ball right on top. I'll tell you, the Rock are getting some chances. They better take advantage.
11:14 left in the half. Thompson with the feed. Miller was able to read it and get over. Martin Matthews denied. Comes Toronto. Rob Marshall spins back just before the line, gives it to Edwards, who waits for the offense to come on. Garrett Billings rears back with a bullet of his own. Casey Bieren's on the floor. Rob Hellier, Stephen LeBlanc now moving to the right. Stephen LeBlanc back pedals, gives to the weak side over the top, and Bold squeezed his arm and everything together, was able to just get enough of it to keep it out.
You're talking about earlier, Aaron Bolt standing up, taking up a lot of space, just does such a great job of being in the right lanes, taking all the right angles.
Curtis Knight scampering around, calling for it. Trying to whip and weave his way around. There's Conway. Pass to the baseline on the right. Wade spinning, double teamed and hammered. Mark Matthews getting punished. Matthews taking exception to Scott Johnson being all over him.
I think pretty much anyone would take exception to getting treated like that.
Oh, yeah.
But no penalties, just good, hard physical defense,
Well, that's what
which
Toronto
the Rock need to do.
Really has to do, Stamper, against a guy like Matthews. 6'5", you have to take it to him.
Yeah, you've got to try and wear him down a bit.
And the Rock not an overly big team. Johnson's one of the guys who can do that. Colin Doyle had the ball go out of his stick. Missing Thompson. Loose ball still up in the air. Thompson trying to spin away, and now LaFontaine has it now.
Yeah, great effort by Lintz there to scoop it up after Thompson lost the ball. And Lintz gets it over to LaFontaine, sets up the O for the Rush.
9:30 to go in the first half. Edmonton moving the ball well, and Miller down to a knee. Miller career NLL stats in 180 games, a 12.23 goals against average and a 759 save percentage. Those numbers don't sound great, but again, he was on some pretty bad Philadelphia teams over the years. Looked pretty good tonight. In his first game in a Toronto Rock uniform, replacing Nick Rose. And really, ball goes, it'll be over and back. This will be a true competition, Stamper, of who wants it more. Who's this team going to play better in front of? Miller or Rose? We're going to take the break. 5-3, Edmonton leads Toronto. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network. The Edmonton Rush return home on Saturday, April 5th to host the Colorado Mammoth at Rexall Place. Game time is 7 p.m. For tickets, visit EdmontonRush.com. Welcome to the ACC in Toronto. 5-3 Edmonton leading the Toronto Rock. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. 8:56 to go in the first half. This has been a physical, run-and-gun type of game, Stamper, with multiple lead changes. The Rock have to be careful because now Edmonton can clamp down and still have the ability to add on more.
This is that stretch we've talked about where in their last few games the Rush have pulled away.
Went for a skip shot through a screen. Zach Greer didn't really get through. Toronto 5-8 in the season. Edmonton 12-0. Whoa, and a shot by Jesse Gamble. We know his speed on the transition. The Edmonton Rush tied for the all-time single-season record for undefeated games at 12 with the 2007 Rochester Nighthawks, would set a NLL record with their 13th win here tonight.
Extra attacker out as there is a delayed penalty coming to the Rush.
Tiptoeing along, Beards. Still rock ball, and Toronto will still be up a man. Beards again, and now he finishes. Denied the first time. Beards sidearms it from in close, and it's a one-goal game. 5-4 Edmonton.
The Rush usually so good at taking men in close, and Behrens slips away from them twice to get his 19th of the year. And that is just great finish by Casey Behrens. You can see he took a wallop the first time, came back for more, not afraid to go to the dirty areas, and that he gets rewarded.
8:08 to go in the half. Ethan O'Connor and Thompson, that face-off battle, is turning phenomenal. The rugby scrum type of battles all day long. Here's Sandy Chapman, fakes the pass, went 5 on Bold. Bold has been challenged here in the first half. Cornwall in the neutral zone with the dump. Edmonton trying to recapture that 2-goal lead. Oh, and a smack. Toronto got on the board first, and then it went back and forth. Scott Johnson, the big defender, rumbling up the floor.
Rock slowing things down. One thing you've got to do, you have to be patient. You can't rush possessions. You need to work the ball against this Edmonton Rush defense and try to find some openings.
Yeah, disciplined over the stick of Johnson. Colin Doyle on the right wing. Doyle looking for something here. Shot clock violation. Shots 21-17 in favor of the visitors. And look, Colin Doyle
Delay of game.
going to the penalty box.
Rolling
Okay.
the ball away.
And that's a rule that came in a couple years ago now. That and the 8 seconds to get over center. You don't see it called often, but it has been a couple times tonight.
It has the second one today, and certainly some will give the Rush a chance to pull it out. That we've talked about the Rush power play, how potent they are, and this is where the Rock have to be so careful right now.
It's interesting because none of the Edmonton players are in the top 5 over the top, and it will count. Trickle by Miller.
Corey
That will go to
Conway
Corey
has been
Conway,
he's been on a bit of a roll lately, scoring, and he can let it rip. He fires this one from the top. Just very simple, and actually hit a stick on the way in. If you watch, it'll go off the stick there of Bill Greer.
So a little bit of a redirection.
Yeah, totally fools Brandon Miller after that when he had no chance once that deflected.
So 6-4, what I was going to say before that goal. You don't see an Edmonton Rush player in the top 5 in goals, assists, or points, but they spread it around so well.
Yeah.
So many weapons.
And all so unselfish. Nobody cares
Yeah.
who's getting the points as long as they're getting them.
You have to have that mindset, and that's a large part why they're 12-0 to start this season. And what a run it has been. Zach Greer being pushed off of Bill Greer. Waiting. That was on the power play by Conway, too. Miller looked like he ducked there. Greer gets knocked down. Damon Edwards, now.
You know, you talked in the pregame about Derek Keenan and his role, his importance to this team, and what we just talked about makes a huge difference. The way that he coaches this team is the same way he coaches Whitby, to get a team approach going, to all work together to make things happen.
That's what they had to do really when they were just defensive-minded, and they carried that over with the offensive weapons. That hit the post. Bold didn't see that at all. Shot from the left side by Rob Hellier. Loose ball in front of the Toronto bench.
Great job by
John Lynch
Hellier to
going
get
after
himself clear of Jeff Cornwall just enough to get a bit on that shot.
And try to thread the needle to Behrens just off the edge of his stick. Swats it free. 22 on the shot clock. Toronto has plenty of time to regroup. Josh Sanderson finds a lane, undresses Lentz, and scores! Josh Sanderson did a little Texas two-step, beaked out John Lynch, and it's 6-5 Edmonton.
Josh Sanderson plays such a smart game. He plays a very positional game, a game of awareness. It's easy to forget just how quick he is when he gets that first step on you. He is by Lentz in a heartbeat and just buries that one again, bouncing it down by the feet of Aaron Bull. Just look at that first step, and he is gone. Elevates a little bit to get into the air, stay above the crease line, and just goes to the far side. Now he's snuck one inside the post and one inside the far post. Going all over the net is Josh Sanderson.
That's right, second of the night. Miller with a nice stop there. Toronto with the feed, long pass to Gamble. We know how fast he can be. He has Ethan O'Connor with him. Another young transition player. Toronto, known as a veteran club, but has had some nice pieces on the transition game, speed and youth, and guys who are effectively contributing immediately. O'Connor, especially on the face-offs, after the release of Stephen Hoare earlier in the year. Sanderson's stick was knocked on that shot. Sanderson getting bullied there, all 5'7" of them. The assistant captain getting pressed up against the board. 30-second violation. And with that, we will have our media timeout. What a game this is. Edmonton up on Toronto, 6-5, 4:43 left to go. You're watching the NLL on the Lacrosse Network. The National Lacrosse League is now on the Universal Sports Network and universalsports.com. The next NLL game of the week is on Friday as the Minnesota Swarm host the Rochester Knighthawks at 8:30 Eastern on universalsports.com. Fans in the United States can watch the game with the subscription to Universal Sports Network. The game is available to all fans in Canada at universalsports.com. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. It's the Pizza Minute of Madness in the arena, but it's madness on the floor. 6-5, the Rush lead the Toronto Rock. Multiple lead exchanges, and really, Stamper, it's anybody's game right now.
It is. The Rock have really weathered that, so far, that push that we talked about. The Rush tend to get after the closeness, so early in the games. And it's going to be critical to see if they can take advantage of the chances and keep creating chances the way they have. They've done a nice job creating opportunities in the offensive zone.
And the next story to follow will be coming out of the half, because that's where Toronto's really been burned a few times in recent home games. Sidearm whip off the mark by Curtis Knight. Kept in play by the Rush, right on to Miller. Juicy rebound. No Rush player in the vicinity. There's Andy Chapman.
Really nice job there by Bill Greer of boxing out his brother, Zach.
There you go.
Toronto was able to get control of that loose ball.
LeBlanc puts the shoulder down, tied for second in the NLL in goals with 30. Kick save by Bold. And what a season for Aaron Bold. Number one in the league in goals against average at 8.16. Second in save percentage at 8.05. Ball knocked down off of that offering by a Toronto defender. Chris Corbio, the captain who has a goal tonight, battling for possession. Ball skips over Mark Matthews, who's been held in check so far tonight. LaFontaine, he got by Marshall, but did not get by Pat Merrill. 30-second shot clock violation.
Big hit there by Jesse Campbell. Yeah. Not the biggest guy on the floor, but he is solid as a rock.
5'9", but yeah, you see him commonly going up against guys well over 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Doyle, the captain, hasn't played a whole lot tonight, kind of limited for whatever reason, and that shot was redirected by Sanderson, but almost knuckleballed on Bold. Sanderson with a chop over the top. And turn on the Jets is Cornwall. Cornwall got upended by Purvis at the last moment. Quick outlet pass. We're in a horse race here. There's Damon Edwards. He has some speed as well. Gets rid of it. Scores!
Robbie
Off the
Hellier.
bench, rumbling in, Rob Hellier.
Really nicely run transition there by Damon Edwards. Takes off, uses his speed to get up the floor, then uses his vision to see how the play is developing, makes the correct decision, passes it over to Hellier, the man off the bench. Hellier takes advantage, like we talked about, making the rush pay for giving up an odd man rush.
Rob Hellier, I think there is a very strong case to be made for the most improved Toronto Rock player this year.
Oh, yes.
Such an impact performer, taking up that space by Blaine Manning and really taking advantage of it. And another face-off battle rugby type scrum. Ethan O'Connor and Jeremy Thompson, two warriors in there. They're still nose to nose.
Corbeil and Gamble really going after each other.
What a great side story to watch there. Those two going right after both. Shoulder stop, hopped up. Gamble crushed from behind, stayed down for a moment trying to draw the penalty. Didn't happen. All tied up at 6 here. 21st goal by Hellier. Remember, Edmonton coming off of that 15-11 win in Rochester last night, so less than 24 hours. We'll see if any fatigue sets in the second half. They look pretty sharp so far. Ball trickles into the crease. Brandon Miller acquired at the trade deadline for Toronto. Has looked pretty good tonight. Minute 42 left in the half. Stephen LeBlanc, right wing. Little hop step. Spins, waits. Gets pushed back. Stephen LeBlanc off his back foot. Pumps his fist. And snapped it right by Bull. Toronto retakes the lead.
And the Rock are feeling it. They absolutely feel good about the way things are going here. LeBlanc, you've talked about it all year, all season. He's using his physical presence to create, to really impose his will in this league.
Is he
Second
jacked
in the
or
league
what?
in
Look
scoring.
at him. Oh, man.
He's another pretty soft-spoken guy, but you can see the excitement on his face on the bench. There he fights off the defender. Jarrett Davis gets stuck out there on defense, and LeBlanc knows he's got an offensive guy on him, takes advantage of it.
Edmonton, who has only given up more than 10 goals one time, and that was last night this season. They're 12-0 undefeated, trying to set an NLL record for a 13th straight win in a single season. There's Ethan O'Connor. A couple of young guns on the floor, and O'Connor and Gamble. O'Connor clicks with Gamble. Bounce pass on the left wing, last minute of play in the first half. The ACC crowd is into it. Toronto's feeling it. Edmonton's backpedaling. Two out to handle for LeBlanc. It will gobble up the loose ball, though. 6 on the shot clock. Blind pass to Sanderson, almost missed. Backdoor, Casey Bearns gets hammered by Metzke as he tumbles. Lost his stick. And it looks like Bearns, I thought for a moment he took Metzke's stick. But
well, I think he was thinking about it.
They got
Mitzke,
the right ones.
You can make a pretty strong case for holding the stick call there, since Mitzke ripped the stick right out of Bearns' hands.
Yeah, no call though. 17 seconds left. Edmonton trying to even things up here. Heading into the first half break. There's Conway. Chris pass. Miller saw it. Went down to a knee with a stop. Have a timeout. Toronto. John Lovell, head coach of the Rock, calling a timeout here with Toronto up by a single goal. You see that last play on the screen. Sandy Chapman in the action.
Talking about a veteran goaltender as we did before the game, Brandon Miller comes up immediately calling for the timeout there once the Rock were establishing possession of the ball. So they will have a chance to add. There you see Nick Rose behind Miller. Those two, it's always nice to see the way the goalies interact. The goalie union is alive and well.
Absolutely. And you know what? Nick Rose, we forget too, still a very young goaltender.
He is.
There might be nothing wrong with being able to be mentored by Miller, learn, grow, and still have a very long, successful career as a starter.
No question.
But there's no doubt in my mind he has struggled at times this year.
Yeah.
And maybe needs this either to push him or take a step back and learn.
Yeah. You know, for so many years, it took a while generally for goaltenders to really establish themselves in this league. You'd see guys at 27 or 28 coming into the league at 23, 22, but not establish themselves for 5 years.
That's right. 5 seconds left in the half. Stephen LeBlanc brings it, gives to goal on the right wing. Over the top, went high and wide. by Garrett Billings. That will finish it up. Casey Behrens and Aaron Bold have a word as the team, both clubs head to the locker room. 7-6. Stephen, that was a heck of a first half. Looked like Edmonton up 5-3. Starting to pinch, starting to close the door, the gap. Toronto, to their credit, battled back. The question to me is going to be, we've seen recently a couple of second half collapses by Toronto. How can they coming out for this second half say, okay guys, don't get that in your head, keep playing and doing what you're doing?
The key is to remember how they played in the last 6-7 minutes of this half. They were tremendous, pushing the ball, pushing on defense, working very hard, but everything with control, making smart decisions. A great example, Damon Edwards on that transition.
Yeah.
Didn't take the shot, saw that Hellier had the better chance, actually threw the ball back a little bit. That's the kind of decision they need to make. That's the kind of control they need to have in the third quarter.
Thoughts on the two goaltenders so far? Brandon Miller's first half as a Toronto Rock member, and Aaron Bold, who's been phenomenal all season. I won't say he looked bad, but he looked ordinary.
He looked human.
He looked human.
He's looked certainly excellent. Allowed some goals. The Rock, I will say that I think the Rock created more high-quality chances than most of the teams that Edmonton has seen this season.
That's fair.
So I think when you can do that, you're going to get to a goalie, even one as good as Aaron Bold, because you look at some of the shots that Josh Sanderson has made, the back-to-back chances by Casey Behrens, some of the chances in transition. They've had really good looks.
Yeah, Toronto taking advantage of usually an impenetrable wall that is the Edmonton defense.
Yeah.
So with that, after 2 quarters of play, Toronto leads the Edmonton Rush 7-6. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for some first half stats and breakdown. You are watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Welcome to NLL Halftime. Hi everybody, I'm Dave Walls. We'll get you back to your game in just a few moments. First, let's take a look at the scores and standings as we head into this weekend's action. Week 14 of the 2014 NLL season. Our Week 13 game of the week was the Philadelphia Wings hosting the Toronto Rock in a crucial Eastern Division matchup. Both these teams fighting for that last playoff spot in the East, and Philadelphia came out shooting hot and shooting early. Kevin Crowley's hot stick along that with Kyle Buchanan gave Philly a 5-3 lead at the end of one. However, Toronto would get a 4-0 rally midway through the second that would give them the lead 7-5. Philadelphia would respond, though, with a 6-1 run to close out the quarter, with Garrett Thule's extra attacker goal with under 5 seconds left, making it an 11-8 game at the half. Toronto would tie it at the end of 3 thanks to Bill Greer's goal, making it 12-12. Philadelphia and Kevin Crowley proved to be too much, though, as Tracy Kelusky gave Philly the lead 13-12, and then Kevin Crowley's sock trick, his 6th of the night, made it 14-12 Philly, and they would hang on for the win, 14-13. In other Week 13 action, the Buffalo Bandits were on the losing end of a weekend series, first against the Edmonton Rush, where they were creamed at Rexall Blaze 14-5, and again on Sunday as the Minnesota Swarm got their third win of the season in overtime over the Bandits 10-9. In other action out west, the Calgary Roughnecks continued their dominance over the Vancouver Stealth, winning 13-8. So what does all of this mean for the standings? Well, I can tell you in the Eastern Division, things just became a whole lot more interesting. We have a new leader on top of the Eastern Division as the Rochester Nighthawks took Week 13 off, but still hold their record of 9-3, good enough for a 1-game lead over the Buffalo Bandits. Dropping both games in Week 13 has dropped them a game in back of Rochester with a crucial matchup tonight against Vancouver. The real battle comes with that fight for third place as things just got a whole lot tighter. With Toronto's loss to Philadelphia, the Rocks still sit in third place with a record of 5-8, but now only hold a 1-game advantage over the Wings, who sit in fourth place with a record of 4-9. Toronto faces Edmonton on Sunday, while the Wings battle the Colorado Mammoth tonight at the Loud House. Minnesota isn't out of it yet either. Their overtime win over Buffalo last week has them up to a record of 3-9, and they're only a half game back of Philadelphia. The Swarm also hold the tiebreaker over the Wings, so right now, 3rd through 5th place could be anybody's game. Meanwhile, in the NLL Western Division, things have become a little bit clearer. The Edmonton Rush are the first team to clinch a spot in the playoffs with their perfect 11-0 record, but they've got a tough Eastern road trip ahead of them this weekend, facing the Rochester Nighthawks on Saturday, followed by the Toronto Rock on Sunday. Calgary sits well behind, but comfortably in second place with a record of 7-5. battling the Minnesota Swarm at home on Saturday. Colorado has got a little bit of breathing room now in third place with a record of 5-8, but still facing a tough Saturday matchup at the Loud House against the Philadelphia Wings, while Vancouver fights for its life with a record of 3-9 and a do-or-die game against the Buffalo Bandits on Saturday. That does it for this edition of NLL Halftime. Thanks for watching. Hey, make sure to take to Twitter and let everyone know how your team is doing at the half. We'll get you back to your game in just a moment. This is the National Lacrosse League.
Again, you don't want to keep harping on that one, but here comes Schattler, and he's to the goal and puts one home. So with a 4-on-4 now for the next 35 seconds. A lot of room out there. And here's a shot and a score. Oh, what a beautiful play by Garrett Billings. And Dixon out there, and the high man is Manning. Feet across, Dobie, empty netter. It's in.
Cross Tavares in front. What a pass! He buries it wide open on the top of the crease with Resetaritz.
It's a no-look pass coming from John Tavares. Not too much they can do. He had two options on there. Snuck in right on top of the crease for a quick one-time shot and goal.
Here comes Lincoln. A pick from Dutch. Lincoln, Craig scores! J.D. Lincoln on the bounce finds the top corner. As we are now under 6 minutes to go here in regulation. Behind the back pass and score, Josh Sanderson. Oh, baby, there's your top 10 highlight reel goal right there.
Greer through the middle. Fakes the shot. Greer scores! Zach Greer fakes the shot. Dip, dunks, and slides one home.
Crawford spins away. Crawford drives, scores! And the Swarm win it in overtime. Callum Crawford, the game winner. Oh, and a beauty! Coming in was Rooney, and as he was getting hammered to the ground.
Battling up against Braunwald to get that ball. Now it's picked up by Knight. Scores Curtis Knight. Now we got the challenge flag. I'm not sure that ball went in the net, Kevin. I'm not sure it's his feet. I think it might be the ball. And Cosmo, with his back to the play, got his stick up. And if that's a non-goal, that's going to be one of the best saves of the year. That replay right there shows pretty clear no goal. Yes, indeed. That's the right call.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon to the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again. It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
NLL Radio offers the best online radio coverage of the National Lacrosse League. Listen on your smartphone. Just download the popular TuneIn Radio app and find NLL Radio. Hear the latest episode of every show anytime on your phone. For more information, visit nll.com/radio. Andy McNamara alongside Stephen Stamp here at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Halftime is about 2 minutes and 25 seconds away from being done. The Rock leading the undefeated Edmonton Rush, trying to get into sole possession of the record book for 13 straight wins in a single season. Toronto looking to hold on to that third and final playoff spot in the East. So Stamper, let's break down this opening half. Who impressed you the most? Who needs to step up their play?
Well, I'll tell you, I think the most impressive thing probably is the way the Toronto Rock as a team have functioned, especially defensively in the second quarter there. They got behind 5-3. They really stepped up their game and did their best Edmonton Rush impression, putting lots of pressure on the ball while keeping the pressure on the off-ball players and communicating. I think Edmonton probably needs Aaron Bold to make a few more saves to just be a bit more like himself.
Right.
And one of the things, again, second half of play, Edmonton having played last night, how will the legs be? Again, they had a player kicked out last night. We had matching players with 10-minute misconducts today, so they missed 12 minutes, two for unsportsmanlike in 10 minutes.
Right.
So again, Edmonton one short, and that does wreak a bit of havoc on a 16-man bench.
Yeah, absolutely. However, if we look at the Toronto Rock, we know the last couple games at home, the second half has not been their friend. They've given up multiple runs and have shown collapses. So is the possible tired legs of Edmonton the solution for a Rock team that really, Stephen, has to get on some sort of roll, pick up some kind of momentum as the postseason rapidly approaches?
Yeah, I think the key for the Rock here is to keep pressing, keep the pressure on, keep forcing Edmonton to work really hard at both ends of the floor. Make the offensive possessions a battle for the Rush to get chances. Make them work for everything they get. And at the other end of the floor, you've got to really make their defense work incessantly. You just got to keep moving the ball, keep them going back and forth, and really try to wear this team out a little bit.
Josh Sanderson, 2 goals for the Toronto Rock, leads Toronto in scoring. Zach Greer has a pair, including one on the power play for the Edmonton Rush. So the scoring getting spread around on both sides. Other goal scorers, Chris Corbeil of the Edmonton Rush, Jeremy Thompson, Nick Belich, Greer, as I said, and Corey Conway. For Toronto, Chapman, Hellier, Billings, LeBlanc, Sanderson, and Casey Bearns. Interesting, too, Stephen, you mentioned it. We haven't seen as much of Colin Doyle as we're used to.
Yeah, it
I
is
wonder
a little strange. Whether he's nursing something or it's just a game where he hasn't been as involved. The other thing I'll tell you, Toronto staying right with Edmonton in the transition game. Those goals from Belich, Hellier, the Sandy Chapman goal, all these transition markers make a big difference. They need those to stay in this one.
Edmonton Rush with possession in their visiting gray, black, and white uniforms. Toronto Rock in their all-white unis. Mark Matthews with the swim move. Matthews, and a guy who can take over a game single-handedly. He was neutralized in the first half. He's 6'5", is Matthews, an absolute monster, but has been neutralized so far. He's a guy that can break out at any time, though, Stamper.
Yeah, just 1 assist for Matthews in the first half, but he is a big shooter, and when you give him room to pass, when he's winding up to shoot, you better be ready because he can change his mind and make the pass diagonally in a heartbeat.
Sorgetti going right at Miller behind the back, and Miller just saw enough of it. Zach Greer looking for his hat trick, denied.
Big saves by Miller, and that's the kind of thing Toronto needs coming out of the half. You've talked about how they've struggled in second halves. It's tended to be pretty early, so a big save can be a momentum booster for them.
Shots 29-24 in favor of the visitors. Colin Doyle being hacked. Sanderson creating some room for him. Billings still with possession. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Ball knocked loose. Hugging that post was Bold. And Edmonton coming up with possession.
Lots of pressure by Edmonton, really not giving the Rock a chance to do a whole lot on that one. Doyle was trying to get the ball dished off. He just couldn't see anybody until the last second getting it to Bjorns.
There's Curtis Knight, stumbled and got rid of it. Clicks with Greer over the top screen, was wide. Gamble gobbled it up, and that's a penalty. It's going to come against Mark Matthews into the face mask of Gamble. Brandon Miller out of the net, extra attacker on for Toronto. Garrett Billings shuffles his way into Edmonton territory, sidearm pass to the right side. Sanderson behind the back, clicks with Doyle, blind one to Hellier, bouncer off the mark, Boyle corrals it in.
And you love your forwards trying to get the ball back, fighting on that forecheck to try and get turnovers and second chance opportunities. But you have to be careful when you lose a step, when you're a step behind someone like Jesse Gamble especially. He's going to be opening some space, and Matthews was caught reaching instead of keeping up with his feet, which frankly nobody can do with Jesse Gamble.
Yeah, exactly. So fast. And that's a big loss for 2 minutes or less for Edmonton. Mark Matthews, one of the best players on this team, leads the team in scoring. Stephen LeBlanc and Sanderson. Loose ball, bobbling near the Edmonton bench. The Rush come up with it and will now get a chance to kill off 30 seconds.
And 3 Rush players all over within an arm's reach of each other. Really high pressure penalty kill.
And Toronto cannot get complacent here because Edmonton, they can come back and burn you in so many different ways.
They have a number of shorthanded goals on the season, so you got to watch out for them in that situation.
Knight sets the pick. Over the top, looking for Greer. Trickled through, and Miller saw just enough of it. Here's Rob Hellier. Heck of a season he's had, 21 goals. Has scored one tonight. Toronto now with 58 seconds left with the man advantage. Casey Bjorns up at the top of the point. And Bjorns not usually one to let him rip. Does so there. Toronto gets the ball back off the rebound. There's Hellier over to Doyle. Pass to Billings. Billings waits over the top. Got redirected. 37 seconds to kill for Edmonton. That's on the minor to Mark Matthews. Billings lost the pass to Hellier. Loose ball. Bjorns tries for it. Still free. It's more like a hockey game than a lacrosse one right there. And Doyle comes back, a bouncer. 30-second shot clock violation.
Great little
you don't
play
want
by
to see.
Bjorns to pull that ball loose for Billings to pick up. But yeah, like you said, on the power play, you do not want to go to the 30-second shot clock expiring.
15 seconds to go in the minor to Matthews. So Edmonton will try to just hold on and wait for the big man to come back on the floor. Zach Greer right in front of us on the near side. Sends it across to Church. Penalty has expired. Back to even strength. Falling into the crease of Jarrett Davis. Getting upended by Hostrauser. There's Ethan O'Connor. Speedy rookie. And this game has really stepped up his face-off play. Jeremy Thompson, 54.8% face-off winning percentage this year. One of the better ones in the league. And O'Connor's been holding his own. Sanderson bobbled the ball. And now Colin Doyle being swarmed by gray jerseys. Edmonton coming back in Toronto, still leading 7-6. 5 minutes into the second half, and no one has scored yet. Zach Greer shuffles and waits. Sends to the weak side. Church was trying to set up and create a lane. Falling was Chapman. Greer in the slot. Went behind Church. Curtis Knight trying to get the ball in the scramble. And there's a 30-second shot clock violation. Knight being double-teamed by Johnson and Chapman. Matthews trying to come to the aid of his teammate.
And that's a nice job by the Toronto Rock communicating on defense, helping each other out. It's something they've really been having some trouble with during the stretch that they've had where they've been losing games. And you can just see them there's a fluidity to the defense that, again, mimicking the Edmonton defense. When you watch Edmonton, they just flow. They just seem so simple and so natural. It's very difficult to make that happen the way you get all over every player who is involved in the play. But Toronto really putting a lot of pressure on there.
Absolutely. With the break, it is 7-6. Toronto up on Edmonton. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again. It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
This copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. The Rock lead the Edmonton Rush 7-6. 9:30 to go in the third quarter. Neither club has scored in this second half. Colin Doyle trying to change that for the Rock, the captain. Barreling his way through. There's a penalty coming to the Edmonton Rush. Doyle was being mauled as Miller races to the bench. I believe that was by Brett Metzke, who's going to be getting the minor off the post. Toronto still keeps it, though, with the extra man on with Miller out of the net, and Doyle's behind the back pass was gobbled up by Metzke.
Yeah, we almost saw another extra attacker goal by Josh Sanderson. He had one with a delayed penalty coming in the first quarter, and Casey Byrnes got one as well for the Rock, and Zach Greer had one with the extra attacker for the Rush. So we've seen quite a few of them, and very close to another one as that one just hit off the wrong side of the post for Sanderson.
Had bold beat. So Metzke will serve 2 minutes or less. Toronto back to the power play. 2 minutes for holding is the call. Toronto has not scored with the man advantage so far today. Going to try to change that right now. There's Stephen LeBlanc. Crisp pass finds Billings. Bold slides over and makes the stop.
Corbeil with 4 shorthanded goals on the season.
And goes after Miller. Ryan Dilks got enough of it. Rock defender on him, though. Miller made the stop. A lot of speed on this Edmonton club. Garrett Billings has a goal tonight. Behind the back pass to Hellier. Over the top. Billings, NLL leader in assists and points. Coming into tonight with 92. Second is John Grant Jr. at 78. Minute 4 left on the power play for Toronto. Billings failed to click with him. Ball is loose. Hold on now. There's a break. Galloping up the floor again is Dilks. Dilks scores! Ryan Dilks, short-handed. We're all tied up at 7.
What a job at mid-floor. Here comes the shot. All set up by, I believe it was Nick Belich, taking the huge hit into the boards at mid-floor and coming out of it still with possession to get the ball up to Dilks. That is taking one for the team, paying the price, and it worked out beautifully for the Rush.
Well, you mentioned Edmonton has had several shorthanded goals this season. Have another one there. All tied up at 7. First goal of the half. Toronto still with 41 seconds left on the power play, but the Rush with the ball off of the Jeremy Thompson faceoff win. 12 left on the shot clock, so Toronto should have one more drive left, going right at Miller, who's looked good. He's looked crisp tonight in relief of the usual starter Nick Rose.
Especially since midway through the first quarter.
Yeah. 19 seconds to go with the man advantage. Toronto gave up the shorthander moments ago to Dilks. Trying to make something happen. Billings from the point, doesn't see anything he likes. Decides for the captain, Colin Doyle. Back to Billings, goes with him. On the doorstep, looking for Sanderson. Ball was redirected at the last moment. And we're back to even strength. 30-second shot clock violation again. And you can start to feel the tide, momentum-wise, turning in the favor of the Edmonton Rush.
And you're going to get some 30-second shot clock violations. When you're playing against Edmonton, you just have to shake it off, be ready to go out and make things happen the next time around.
Zach Greer, we know the power he has behind his shots. Scored one just by pure effort. Pass clicks with Matthews, and you want to talk about power. Smooth as butter, Mark Matthews. Quiet all game. Jumps up and bites Toronto. 8-7 Edmonton.
Perfectly put, smooth as butter. Just that quick release, but plenty on it. You can see how quickly that ball got into the top corner. But just the plant that foot and a quick little snap with the wrists. That was where the size and strength comes into play. No big wind-up at all. He just had the stick ready to go and snaps it.
The velocity behind just using the wrists. Yeah. That's what's scary about this man. The total package. First overall pick a couple years ago, 6'5", 230. This is a young, aggressive, talented team built for sustained success. Are the Edmonton Rush. Damon Edwards loses possession, was trying to spin his way up the floor. That's a 2-on-2, and Toronto getting back to even things up. Jeremy Thompson, though. So yet another lead change in this game. Toronto in leading after the first half, 4-2 this season. They came out into the third quarter up 7-6. Mark Matthews being pushed aside. Dumps it. Got all the traffic. What beautiful passing on the money by the Edmonton Rush. Brandon Miller stands tall, though. Long looping outlet pass. Trying to find a Hostrauser and does. Took away any break. Clicks with Billings. He backpedals and waits for reinforcements. 5:37 left in the third quarter. Bierns sets a pick for Billings. Dropped it behind, was a grounder. LeBlanc couldn't scoop it up. And now here come the Rush, 3-on-2. Waits, Corbeil, and Miller down to a knee. Makes the stop with his left pad. Captain Corbeil has scored tonight. Shots 35-30 in favor of the visiting Edmonton Rush. Mark Matthews with the hop. Shakes off Purvis. Tries to step in the high post. Tiptoeing along that crease was Church. Great floor awareness, not to make it a crease violation. Tipped away from Matthews. Hold on now. And there's Jimmy Purvis. Purvis waits. Sandy Chapman hammered from behind by Jared Davis. Unable to create a scoring opportunity. Ball ricocheting off the glass. Nobody has it yet. Corey Conway almost did. Now there's Josh Sanderson. No, he doesn't have it either in the neutral zone. Now he does. Not a lot of room, though. Sanderson trying for that speed. Corey Conway. And we're going to have a penalty coming to the Edmonton Rush. Brandon Miller heads to the bench. Extra attacker on. That's a 30-second shot clock violation. Let's see what the call is.
Some great effort there by Jimmy Purvis to keep that pressure on. He makes the pass to Chapman. Chapman's knocked down, loses the ball. Purvis just keeps fighting for it. Eventually Sanderson does get it. And then it's the hit over along the boards that caused the penalty. And it will give the Toronto Rock a chance to get back into this one.
Absolutely. Edmonton leads 8-7 over Toronto. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com. Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official.
Slip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again! It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
The National Lacrosse League is now on the Universal Sports Network and universalsports.com. The next NLL game of the week is on Friday as the Minnesota Swarm host the Rochester Nighthawks at 8:30 Eastern on universalsports.com. Fans in the U.S. can watch the game with a subscription to Universal Sports Network. The game is available to all fans in Canada at universalsports.com. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. The score is 8-7. Another lead change, this time for the Edmonton Rush, up on Toronto with 4:14 to go in the third quarter. It is a Toronto power play. 2-minute minor to Jeremy Thompson, who's been involved with several fierce face-off battles with rookie Ethan O'Connor.
What a pass by Ryan Dilks to zip it up to his
How did he do that? He was being double-teamed and somehow find Corbeil. That's going to be an over and back. Mark Matthews had the ball go off his stick, so that lovely pass went for naught. Toronto still trying to convert on their first man advantage. They've had several opportunities, but the Rush, one of the best in the league, in shutting those down and scoring shorthanded. They have a shorthander tonight. Trying to get Bold moving east-west. Bold sliding over. And he started off slow, Stamper, but he's been getting better and better as this game has gone on.
Yeah, and you know, when you can trot out Chris Corbeil, Kyle Rubish, Brent Mitski, and Ryan Dilks as your penalty-killing unit, you are in good shape.
Yeah, not
but
bad.
the Rock did a nice job there forcing Bold to make a great save with tremendous ball movement.
Edmonton looking for another shorthander. Dilks scored down a man earlier. Scott Johnson jogs over center. 37 seconds to go in the minor to Jeremy Thompson of the Edmonton Rush. Billings fails to click with LeBlanc. Able to get it after the ball was rattled off the glass. Doyle fakes, head fake, found Billings, who snuck him behind Corbeil. No damage done, though. And with 16 seconds left, the Rush should be able to kill this off. Well, they might have a scoring opportunity here. But Leach waits for Corbeil, sets, plants, fires, count it. He had all day long.
His fifth shorthanded goal of the season. We talked about it earlier. His 12th overall of the year, and he just had tons of space. You know, they must have been aware that there was enough time left in the penalty that it's not going to be dangerous if that ball comes out the other way. The player not coming, or sorry, the shorthanded. It wouldn't be anyway. But like you said, they could have killed. That's what I'm saying. They could have killed the rest of that penalty.
Killed it.
But perfect opportunity, and Corbeil gives them a 2-goal lead.
Just stepped and put everything he had out of his 6'3" frame. His second of the night. The second shorthanded goal for the Edmonton Rush. And special teams was a factor in the favor of Edmonton last night. It is again this evening. 2 power play goals, 2 shorthanded goals. That's how you build a championship caliber team. The Rock down by 2 again. They were trailing 5-3 earlier. Stood tall and battled back. Now down only by 1. Garrett Billings got out of traffic, found a lane, and with a quick snap of the wrists, gives Toronto their 8th goal.
Huge response by Billings, their leader offensively, as he buries that one just shortly after the power play had expired and shortly after the shorthanded goal by the Rush. And so important to answer back and get back into the game, because we've talked about Edmonton's ability to pile it on. They will keep pressing, but the Rock have not given up at all, and they were working very hard to get their opportunities here in this game.
Pat Merrill took that face off, and after it bounced around for a while, the Rush got it. Here's Zach Greer. Zach Greer being pressured in the corner, puts up a big lob into the neutral zone.
And, you know, you talked earlier about how Edmonton is built for the long haul. Very young team.
Yeah.
But boy, do they play a mature game.
Absolutely. They have that nice mixture of a lot of youth and a ton of talent. There's Mark Matthews trying to get the screen, another one. And Brandon Miller save after save. Brandon Miller has looked pretty darn good here tonight.
Miller closing the wickets. That's a big one. And it sounds like we're going to have matching penalties. One each. A little chirping going on.
And with
between
that,
Edwards and Greer.
we will take the break. 9-8, the Edmonton Rush lead the Toronto Rock. You are watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network. Action back underway. Shots 38-33 in favor of the Edmonton Rush. Garrett Billings. Pass intended for Doyle. Swatted down. Hellier able to gobble it up. Billings down the high post trying to back his way in behind the back. Crisply whipped that one in and didn't fool Bold though.
He looked a little surprised though. I think
Yeah.
Bold may have just been in the right place for that one.
Last minute of play of the third quarter. Multiple lead exchanges. Back and forth momentum shifts. What a great game this has been. And we still have a whole another quarter to go. Mark Matthews to the weak side. LaFontaine spinning. Oh, gets double team, runs into a sea of white jerseys. Off his back foot, Matthews. And Miller with the stop. Chapman pushing and shoving with LaFontaine. 29 seconds remains in the third quarter.
Penalty coming to Matthews. Elbowing. Well away from the play.
Second minor for Matthews in this game.
Brandon Miller was making his way to the bench to get an extra attacker. He'll probably just stay out on the floor now, as they will have a 5-on-4 situation.
See the veteran, Brandon Miller, and Nick Rose was a starter all season long. The head coach not necessarily blaming Rose, but realized something has to change. Some sort of momentum or mindset has to change in net. And maybe Miller can provide that. He's looked good here this evening.
When you're the Toronto Rock and you're 5-8, you're looking to change something up.
You have to. Multiple changes and additions at the trade deadline. 18 seconds left in the quarter. Shot clock is dead. Wait, and Bearns tiptoeing along that crease. Went high. Corbeil was all over him. 11.6 seconds left. Play clock there. Corbeil trying to get over center. 6 seconds. Can he do anything? Corbeil almost held up on an 8-second violation. Corbeil still being hacked. Slides. Is there going to be a penalty before the end?
Yeah, LeBlanc called for checking from behind. So that will do it for the power play.
That will do it. We'll be 4-on-4 for a minute 32. Then the Rush will have the man advantage. At the end of 3, it is 9-8. Edmonton leads Toronto. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com. Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon to the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again. It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
The next Toronto Rock home game is on Saturday, April 12th, as the Rock host the Philadelphia Wings. Game time here at the Air Canada Centre is 7 p.m. For tickets, visit TorontoRock.com. And that game most likely will have huge playoff implications in the East, with Toronto at 5-8 right now. Philadelphia won yesterday, sit at 5-9. They beat the Colorado Mammoth on the road 14-12. Welcome back to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. You can follow us on Twitter at AndyMC81 and at StampLAX. 9-8. The Edmonton Rush lead the Toronto Rock. Pat Merrill and Jeremy Thompson in the face-off circle. The Rush in their smart visiting uniforms, gray, black, and white. Toronto in their all-white home jerseys. 39-34, the Rush leading in the shot category. Curtis Knight, the youngster, gave it, and that shot did not get through. And Bill Greer, I think he might have taken the shot. They're slow to get up. Heads to the bench. And Jesse Gamble dumps to Sanderson, heads off. Streaking in off the bench. And there's Ryan Dilks. He has a shorthanded goal tonight. 2 power play goals, 2 shorthanded goals by Edmonton. So if Edmonton is able to pull this out, the special teams would be a huge part of it.
Yeah, Toronto 1 for 6 on the power play. We did mention, we were saying they didn't have any,
yes.
A reminder. First goal of the game, Garrett Billings.
There you go. Well, they got one.
First Toronto goal.
And in front of Bold, again, Aaron Bold, what a season he's had. First in goals against average at 8.16. Second in save percentage, 805. Has a tremendous defense in front of him. So it'll be 4-on-4 for another 13 seconds, and the Rush will go on a shortened power play. It's a Stephen LeBlanc sidearm whip. Jeff Cornwall put everything he had behind that. Miller reacted and made the stop. Out comes Matthews, trying to get his way out the door. The ball right in front of him. Matthews on the floor. Thompson with the spin move on Justice Purvis. Pass too high, though, for Matthews. In at the side, Jesse Gamble trying to take on the 6'5" Matthews. Gamble stands 5'9". That's probably generous.
Matthews had a beauty last night. There's
Whoa, there you go. Winding, planning, delivering a rocket from Robert Church. 10th goal of the night for Edmonton.
Church just rears back. Nobody near him. Lets this one fly. That will be another power play goal. So we're still 6 seconds left in the Toronto penalty to LeBlanc.
And Stamper, what Toronto has to do now is do something that only one team has done, and that was last night in Rochester, is score more than 10 goals against the Edmonton Rush this season. Only been done one time yesterday.
They've got 8. They're on pace to do it.
See
the big question now is coming back and just really responding mentally to that last Edmonton goal.
Well, last time Edmonton was up by 2, Garrett Billings scored moments later. Willed his way in. Toronto will need a similar effort here. Another goal by the Rush here would be a dagger. Glove side. Miller got a bit of it. On the transition, there's Greer, and he muffed it, allowing Edmonton to come back. Could not be found in stride. Otherwise, he would have had a great scoring opportunity all alone with Aaron Bold. Hellier gets rid of it to Billings. Hellier going to try to create a pick. Intercepted, intended for Stephen LeBlanc. And galloping up the floor is Ryan Dilks. Dilks now. A 2-on-1. Dilks went 5-hole. Miller stoned him dry. Chapman in a battle behind the play. You better be careful with Mark Matthews. A penalty to either club here could be fatal, especially for Toronto. 12:02 to go in the fourth quarter. LeBlanc receives on the right wing. Went over the top to the screen. Bolt saw that all the way. Nick Milich got rid of it to Metzke. Brett Metzke. One-timer stopped by Brandon Miller. Zach Greer denied. Sliding over.
Critical save by Miller. That, you talked about, the next goal for Edmonton could make a big difference in the Rock's ability to come back. That was a game potential game saver.
As he fell, Billings got it to Sanderson, and then LeBlanc was able to get a nice scoring opportunity. Snap behind the back pass was blind, though, and a turnover. Here come the rush, setting up John Lintz. Lintz will head to the bench. Watch out for Robert Church, one of those quiet contributors you don't always think about. Curtis Knight setting up in the high post. That's Jesse Gamble on him. Went for a swing and a miss, Robert Church. 10:53 remaining. Rock trailing by 2. In front of a loud crowd here at the Air Canada Centre. Doyle takes it. Bounce pass. Was looking for Sanderson. Great floor presence. Was able to get an underhand offering towards Bold. Couldn't convert, though.
Great cut by Sanderson and really nice awareness over on the far side and getting that pass threaded through.
Here's Conway. Ooh, and Jarrett Davis, he missed, not by much on that glove side. Chapman being shoved and taken down by Sorgetti. 30-second shot clock violation right by the Edmonton Rush bench.
Rush will get the ball. Chapman called for trapping the ball on the floor. And now,
what's going
we're
on
gonna
now?
have a penalty. It looks like a late call.
The Boo Birds out of the ACC. See if we can get an explanation.
I didn't see the signal.
Damon Edwards is going to have a seat. Something definitely after the play. We'll let you know what the call is when we hear it over the loudspeaker here. But in any case, the Edmonton Rush have another power play. Conway spinning the stick, waits in the high post. Blasted a rocket off the mark. Conway receives his own rebound. Went far and wide off of the backboards. Conway waits again behind the back pass. Finds Curtis Knight. Conway takes it. Clicks with Knight. Tiptoeing along that crease. Curtis Knight denied.
Another big save. It's just called a dead ball foul, the penalty. So
2 minutes to Damon Edwards. The Rock will have to kill it off for a minute 20 and also be aggressive as they're being right here. Down by 2. Snared and getting some leap on that, some vertical. Kyle Rubish at 6'2", he's got some hops. Took down that Colin Doyle pass attempt.
Rubish, a great athlete. He's so solid defensively. You tend to forget how athletic he actually is.
Yeah. Conway dishes, heads into the low post, trying to create some space, and does for Robert Church, his second of the night. A perfectly executed play. Another power play goal, and a 3-goal lead for Edmonton.
Colin Doyle caught out there on defense. You can see he's trying to fight his way through the pick by Corey Conway, but Conway opens up enough space for Church, and I'll tell you, that is a crushing blow. That makes it 3 for 5. The Rush on the power play. We've gone
just like last
3
night.
for 6. We've gone on about we've talked about the importance of special teams to the Rush today, and they just keep coming through.
So 3 power play goals for the Rush. 2 shorthanded scores as well. Just 1 power play convert for Toronto. And it's going to be
moving pick on the Rush.
And that will take us to our media timeout. Lots of time left, but the Rush lead it 11-8 over the Toronto Rock. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again. It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
The Edmonton Rush return home on Saturday, April 5th to host the Colorado Mammoth at Rexall Place. Game time is 7 p.m. For tickets, visit EdmontonRush.com. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp here at the Air Canada Centre. Kiss cam time means it's the fourth quarter. 8:36 left. The Edmonton Rush have taken a 3-goal lead, 11-8 up on the Rock. The Rush, 46 shots, Toronto, 39. And this is that crucial time in the game, Stamper, where Edmonton really can start clamping down defensively.
Well, they clamp down all the time. The thing now that they Rock have to think about taking some chances. You got to really push things down by 3. It's very hard to get 3 goals against Edmonton in a short period of time. So if you take those chances, you do make yourself vulnerable.
And also stay out of the penalty box for Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe keep Edmonton out of the box because Edmonton has scored shorthanded twice too. 3 on the power play for the Rush. Back to LeBlanc. Stutter step. Sanderson can't create a lane. LeBlanc still forced back. 9 on the shot clock. Fell. Found Billings, though, on the left side. Billings waits. 3 seconds left. Finds Hellier. He has to wind up. Bouncer well off the mark, and that will click down the 30-second shot clock.
The Rock kind of standing around watching LeBlanc work with the ball there. You got to get a little more motion, a little more activity from everyone else. Get them involved.
Under 8 minutes left in the fourth. Edmonton trying to set a National Lacrosse League record for 13 consecutive wins in a season, a single season. They're tied with the 2007 Rochester Nighthawks, and they may have solidified it right there with Zach Greer's third goal of the night, a hat trick, 12-8 Edmonton.
Such a good shooter. Gets a little space. Just a bit of a pick here for Matthews. Matthews getting a bit of both the defenders that were trying to cover Greer, and Greer just takes a step back, gets that back foot planted, puts so much on it, he just absolutely lets it rip.
You know what's interesting with Zach Greer, Stamper? We've really seen him score in 3 different ways tonight. We've seen him with all power, we've seen a sidearm one, and we've seen a pure placement goal.
Yeah.
He really can do it all.
He really can, and we talked earlier about how he's the all-time leading NCAA scorer, and he's just such a tremendous shooter in so many different ways, and great stick skills and great vision.
No doubt. Pass going over the stick of Robert Church, who has a pair of goals himself tonight. Pat Merrill gave to Hellier and heads off to the bench. There's Garrett Billings. Okay, number 13 will his team back. Not with a pass like that. Blind pass intended for Hellier. It's going to be over and back. And Jeff Cornwall's going to wait for reinforcements and heads off. Jarrett Davis directing traffic. Snap back to Jeremy Thompson. Sorry, make that Sorgetti. Davis now. Davis, Superman dive and count it. Davis with the give and go. Sorgetti found him, leapt through the air, and it's 12-8 Edmonton.
It looked for an instant like that pass was actually intended for Curtis Knight, but it comes across all the way to Davis, and he goes flying horizontally. What a bunch of space he covered as you watch this. Davis, not one of those big guys. We saw Matthews score a beautiful goal last night. That was just him extending and using his size. Yeah. Davis had to travel on that one to be able to reach the far side.
He got airborne. That is the 9th different goal scorer for the Edmonton Rush tonight. We talked about spreading it around. Nobody in the top 5 in goals, assists, or points. They don't need to be when you score in bunches with so many different weapons. Billings again falling. Metzke out-muscling Billings.
He's going to take a penalty, though, giving the Rock a chance to go back to the power plays. Billings was hauled down.
That might not be a good thing. Edmonton has scored shorthanded twice.
Hooking call.
Toronto with
the
one
Rock
extra.
now. I mean, they need 6 goals in 6 minutes. Nobody's scored more than 11 in 60 minutes against Edmonton. I don't like the Toronto chances at this point.
No, but anything can happen.
Anything can.
Records are made to be broken. Edmonton can break one that was set in 2007 by Rochester. 12 wins to start a season. They're tied with that and can go 13-0 and continue on their quest to be undefeated. Never done before in the NLL. Spinning around is Dilks.
That's because that pass was a bit behind. Rubish so strong, even though Colin Doyle got his stick on Rubish's stick, Rubish still able to complete that pass over to Dilks.
Oh, yeah. So much talent. Minute 20 left on the minor to Brett Metzke of Edmonton. 4 on the shot clock. And we have a holding call coming to the Toronto Rock. So negating that power play, which was desperately needed. 4-on-4, Sandy Chapman argued for a moment. Continues to.
Very creative play by Mark Matthews, ripping that pass off the back wall, going off the glass, trying to hit Zach Greer, cutting to the net. And Greer was open for a second. That's what necessitated Chapman putting the clamps on him.
Unfortunate timing. Will be 4-on-4 for a minute 11 with 5:33 remaining in the fourth. This game's so close for almost the whole way. And now Edmonton pulling away. Conway backing up. No rush here. Sidestepping his way. Fakes the pass. Goes to the weak side. Trying to get Miller to move east-west. Scooped up. There's Bill Greer. Turns back. And Toronto. It's going to be a penalty.
Heads to the bench to get the extra man.
Yeah, an extra man for Toronto, extra attacker on. Really, you have to. It's desperation time. And remember, Edmonton has only given up more than 10 goals once this season. It was 11 yesterday. Bouncer. Bold. Stopped it all the way. Over the top. Miller backpedaling his way in. Waits, and he kept it out.
That's a great save.
Wow. Nice stop by Brandon Miller, who better have his track shoes on. He heads back to the bench, and Colin Doyle scores. 4:27 left. The captain with his first of the night.
Talked about how we haven't seen a whole lot from Doyle tonight. He's been a little bit more involved in the play in the second half and just fires that one low past the foot of Aaron Bold. The Rock get to 9, still trailed by 4, but they needed 6 in 6 minutes. Now they need 4 in 4 minutes. They're on pace.
They are. Colin Doyle's 26th of the year. Have another look at it there. Doyle had some space and was able to put it away. So it'll be 4-on-4 for 2 more seconds, then the rush will go on the power play. And let's see. Have Corbeil talking with the officials. That will take us to our final media timeout. We'll try to figure out what they're talking about. 13-9, Edmonton leads Toronto. You're watching the NLL here on the Lacrosse Network.
Support the National Lacrosse League and show the world you're a fan with team merchandise from the National Lacrosse League official online store, shop.nll.com. You'll find a great selection of National Lacrosse League team items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, and more. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you support the National Lacrosse League with official gear from shop.nll.com.
Evans flip pass. Here's a shot. Dixon into the net. Scores! Curtis Dixon again. It's 11-10 Calgary.
Want more great NLL action? Subscribe to the Lacrosse Network on your computer, tablet, or mobile device for access to all the games, live on YouTube. Get highlight reels, interactive player interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage on all your favorite teams. YouTube.com/TLN. Subscribe today.
Our game here wraps up the weekend's NLL action. Join us again next Friday here on the Lacrosse Network. Live action starts at 7 Eastern when the Philadelphia Wings host the Calgary Roughnecks. Visit the Lacrosse Network homepage, youtube.com/TLN, for live viewing of the games. Next Friday's Rochester at Minnesota game will air live on universalsports.com at 8:30 Eastern. Welcome back to the ACC in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Steven Stamp. Edmonton Rush lead Toronto 13-9 with 4:25 to go. But Stamper, Toronto Rock fans and players and coaches and everybody involved with the team will be looking at that game next Friday, Philly hosting Calgary. Because after this loss here, assuming Toronto doesn't come back, it will be a tie for the third and final playoff spot in the East.
Yeah, make sure you're with us 2 Saturdays from now when the Wings come in.
Whoa! Miller just shoving that shoulder up, making a stop on the big man Matthews. Oh, that's going to be a huge game.
Oh, yeah.
Each club has won one. The season series on the line and possibly the last playoff spot. They have to look, too. Minnesota, they're 3-10, but they're not out of it yet either.
Not quite, although it's tough to catch 2 teams that are a couple games ahead of you.
Yeah. Edmonton, Sandy Chapman is out, back to even strength. Whoa, and that ball went off the post and zipped about 14 rows up into the gold section here at the Air Canada Centre on the far side. Edmonton will get the possession back here. Curtis Knight stepping back into the neutral zone. Edmonton in time-killing mode here. Trying to preserve that streak and set a record of 13 straight wins to begin an NLL season.
Moving pick, and Brandon Miller heads to the bench.
Whoa, intercepted, and that looked like he was going headhunting Damon Edwards. Going high on Dilks. It's rock ball. Damon Edwards left his feet, had the forearm up. Colin Doyle. Stephen LeBlanc puts the shoulder and buries Dilks. What a rough 40 seconds for Ryan Dilks. Stays on the floor, though. And Brandon Miller was going to go to the bench. And Ryan Dilks is getting a penalty.
Really rough ride for him.
He got turned inside out twice in 30 seconds. And now goes to the penalty box.
And that look of disbelief on his face.
He's like,
he's
I
thinking
got
the same way
knocked out
you
of my
were.
shoes. Toronto, 2:49 left, have a long way back, but they'll try to do it here. 2 minutes for holding's the call on Dilks. Sanderson wound it up, let it rip, and Bold stopped it with his arm. Here's Belich. Toronto's going to have to really pressure here. They can't let Edmonton use up a 30. 2:25 to go in the game. All right, Matthews turning back, making Toronto work. Edmonton has a wide perimeter, sending the ball around. There's Jared Davis. Davis went right on. Shoulder stop by Miller, who now heads to the bench. Extra attacker going to be coming on for the Toronto Rock. 2 minutes even left.
Miller
Toronto
heading
trails
back now. He's a little
13-9.
surprised because they are on the power play already.
Off the top. Going again. Back-to-back stops by Bold. And that's what you need from your star goaltender at this time in the game. Time ticking away for the Toronto Rock. Edmonton whipped the ball. LaFontaine in the neutral zone. In front of the Edmonton bench. Lobs it tonight. Knight just hanging on, making this move is Greer, and I think that hit Steele. Miller heading off again. Toronto no quit here. Damon Edwards backs off, waiting for reinforcements. Finds Sanderson, right wing side. Sanderson waits over the top in the slot and scores. And that's going to go to Garrett Billings.
Dropping down low, Billings with the sidearm shot, bounces it just inside the post.
Third of the game. And his second power play goal of the game.
Billings, who is fighting for the chance to break the all-time scoring record, hoping to do, well, I don't know if he's hoping, but he has a chance to do it in 16 games rather than taking the full 18. He'll almost surely break the record over the 18-game season.
Minute 5 left. Toronto pressing. They trail by 3. Sanderson with the assists and Damon Edwards with the other helper. Last minute of play in the fourth. Edmonton holding on, playing catch across the floor. And Toronto really has to start pressuring here. 10 on the shot clock. They need 3. Edmonton has not given up more than 11 goals this season. That came last night in their win over Rochester. Miller to the bench, 33 seconds left. Moving quickly now, the Rock. Billings has Edwards in the high post. Edwards trying to create some room and head to the bench. Time running out for Toronto. Sanderson at the point. Passes it over. LeBlanc, sidearm. Bold saw it, went down to a knee. Tipped away, Doyle. They're going to call it a crease violation. Doyle tried to strip it away from Bold.
It's not going to matter a whole lot at this point with just 19 seconds left to play. Edmonton full value for their 13th win in a row this season.
13 straight. 10 seconds left. And the Edmonton Rush. Conway holds on. 3, 2, 1. And it is over. The Edmonton Rush set a National Lacrosse League record with their 13th straight win to start a season, breaking the 2007 12-0 Rochester Nighthawks. Congratulations, Edmonton. What an accomplishment. What a team. What an effort tonight. They take down Toronto 13-10.
Exactly the way they've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 games. Close early, teams can play with them for a while, but the Rush just wear you down. And so impressive. We talked about they played last night. They have to come back this afternoon. And you couldn't tell at all that it didn't impact them in the least.
No, that's what you get from a young team, a young core, but that isn't an immature core. Much different from the Minnesota Swarm, who are really unpredictable week to week. A lot of talent, but do not necessarily have either the leadership or the maturity. Edmonton has all that, and they're 13-0 with a stranglehold on that West Division. Toronto drops to 5-9, tied with Philadelphia for that third and final playoff spot in the East.
And I'll tell you, some of that is guys coming out of junior lacrosse and college lacrosse, ready to play in this league. Some very mature young players. Chris Corbeil, the captain, Kyle Rubish. These guys haven't been in the league that long, just 4 or 5 years. Curtis Knight and Mark Matthews as well. The Rush saluting the fans up in their section of the building, and certainly the local folks who came out to check out the Rush very pleased with what they've seen this afternoon.
Yeah, and some post-game conversation going on between the Rock and the Edmonton Rush. I don't think we'll be having a friendly handshake after this one.
Well, we've already had the handshake line, so it just seems to be lighting up now. But Chris Corbeil is gathering his troops, trying to get them all back. And now the Rock will take their turn to trot around and thank their fans.
Maybe feeling they were showing up a little bit at home there. 13-10. So Toronto's next matchup. Every game so crucial for the Rock here. They head into Vancouver to battle the Stealth on April 5th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Looks on paper like a definite winnable game for Toronto. Stealth last in the West, 4-9. Toronto's beaten them earlier. That's where Bill Hostrauser came from. He got in a fight here. And I guess Terry Sanderson thought, hey, that's for me.
There you go.
I'll take him.
But Vancouver had a very good game last night, beating the Buffalo Bandits 12-8,
Yes.
and certainly looking stronger than they have lately. They'd had a very up and down season, mostly down lately until last night, and they certainly played better than they have in that win over the Bandits.
And you talk about the West, outside of Edmonton, who's now 13-0. You have Calgary 8-5, and we have the 3 stars here. Josh Sanderson, the 3rd star for Toronto. Chris Corbeil, 2nd from the Rush, and Zach Greer with the 1st star for Edmonton. Tough to argue with that. Zach Greer was a phenom tonight.
He was. You talked about how he scored in 3 different ways. Chris Corbeil, pretty hard to argue with as well, as he was sensational defensively. Once again, great leadership. Scored a couple of goals for the, 1 goal
No,
two
got
goals.
two.
He did get 2 goals.
And one
that's right.
shorthanded.
And one of them shorthanded. And just a tremendous game. And Josh Sanderson having another strong game with a couple of goals, a couple of assists for the Rock. And, the Rock just falling a little bit short, as everyone seems to have done. A 13-10 loss to Edmonton, the way they're playing right now, is not that bad, but it's tough to take moral victories when you're fighting for your life in the playoffs.
Sure, absolutely. When you're coming off 2 losses in a row, you lost to Philly, now Edmonton, you head out to play Vancouver. With the way that Brandon Miller played tonight in net for Toronto, Stamper, do you put him back in goal in Vancouver, or do you give Nick Rose a shot?
That's a tough call.
Yeah.
I would see how they're looking in the.
Because I liked how Miller looked tonight.
Yeah, I thought Miller looked pretty good. 13 goals against a very good team that had a lot of chances. So
that'll be an interesting tale of, okay, you didn't win, we go back with Rose. I wonder if Toronto's in a spot now where it's a win and you're in as far as goaltending goes. And then you try to develop a hot hand and some sort of momentum. Or do you say, okay, Miller, that was your first game, you look good, let's try to get you some chemistry with the guys in front of you.
That was going to be one that I'm sure is not going to be chosen early.
No.
I think John Lovell's going to put a lot of thought into that.
So, looking ahead for the Rock, April 5th, as I said, in Vancouver. The next week, right here at the Air Canada Centre, we will have the broadcast for you versus Philadelphia. They're tied right now at 5-9 each. The third and final playoff spot on the line. Wow. That could be a really important game for both clubs. For Edmonton, hey, they're all important. You don't want to get lackadaisical. You want to be hot going into the playoffs. But this team just keeps rolling. Dare I say, knock on wood, they're on route to be the first undefeated team in history. They already have the record of 13 in a row, but undefeated, it doesn't seem like a crazy thing to say right now, does it?
Well, it doesn't. I'd say 4 or 5 weeks ago, it was a little crazy because they were getting pushed. They were having some struggles in games and looking like they were maybe taking things for granted a little bit. And they were really pushed and got kind of fortunate to win a couple of games.
Sure.
But then they just got everything together. And the thing is, the offense is working, the transition is working, the defense is working, Bold's playing well in net, the power play, the penalty kill. What's not working for this team right now? Like you said, you don't want to peak too early. You want to have it going ahead into the playoffs. But I like their chances of going into the playoffs. I don't know, though. Undefeated, there's a lot of pressure in the last 5 games to win every one.
It is. But this team, when we saw Toronto get behind the defense of Edmonton, which has been so strong, make Aaron Bold look human, as you said.
But they responded.
Multiple lead changes.
Yeah.
And then when it came down to crunch time, though, Edmonton found a way.
Yeah.
And that's what championship teams do.
Yeah. Now, of course, we are talking about teams going undefeated in the longer season.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bandits, got to give them credit for their 8-0 season back in '93. A fantastic performance that year. But to do it in an 18-game season would be truly remarkable.
Right, and to go 13-0, congratulations to the Edmonton Rush. So that will do it for us from the Air Canada Centre. For our IT wizard, Matt Wise, for Stephen Stamp, I'm Andy McNamara. Final score, the Edmonton Rush remain undefeated, 13-0. Take down the Toronto Rock 13-10. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night from Toronto.